Well, welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me and things are going okay. Want to make sure I've got comments going. Looks like HK Wifey 420 is already up in here. Flip through is here. Got a few people in the chat already tuning in. So we are here with Coffee and Comics Book Club tonight. We're going to be discussing House of Slaughter. So got this, pull it out, get ready for this. The background's a little different. I happen to be on location. I'm back in the Utah. You can see the Utes. Out here visiting some family, and we are going to be enjoying a good early holiday weekend. Hopefully everybody's doing well, and I hope you guys are having a great evening. I'm going to bring in a couple of people that are already in the chat waiting, but before I do so, I want to throw out a couple of things. We are looking for the next book for next month's book club. We have a few things on the horizon that we're discussing, but we want to cast a vote to see what we're actually doing next month. So if you have any ideas, reach out, type them in the comments, let us know. So let me bring in more Flip Through Comics. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Quite well, thank you.
Good, good. Now we're going to bring in Brady, BWM_CBS on Instagram to join the discussion as well.
Everyone.
Hey, Brady, how you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
And we've got, we're good so far. Glad to have you, your first appearance on Coffee and Comic Book Club. So
yeah, I'm excited to be here.
That's something
Good
to
choice. I
celebrate.
was really excited to read the one for this month.
Right. And then let's bring in Collect 'em All or Die Trying John. What's going on, man? Can you hear us okay, John?
Yeah, just close it.
I can't hear anything.
Just close it.
John's having a few little technical difficulties.
Just
Everybody's having a great night.
mess.
Let's adjust this real quick. Alrighty, so check that message. Okay, so looks like John's having a few technical difficulties. All right, so those that are catching this, those that are watching this, Naj, welcome. She's over across the pond, enjoying probably a nice, I don't know, is it sunny or gloomy over there, Naj? Should be during the day though. But I digress. So we are going to be discussing House of Slaughter, which I got my opinions on for sure. Hopefully you guys have some good opinions. And if anybody else is hop in to live sooner than later, we will watch for you. But also we will be giving away the book for next month's book using the randomizer wheel as well towards the end of the discussion tonight. So if you are a member of the book club, you're already entered. If you're not, go to coffeeandcomic.com, sign up, and you can enter in for next month's spin. Other than that, let's get into it. I guess let's just go round table. We'll start with Mark and then Brady. The first question that I have about this book club is, number one, have you read Something is Killing the Children? If you haven't, if you have, then give a little synopsis about the breakdown between the two, and what your thoughts were on how you incorporated this together. Because I'm coming from a standpoint where I've only read the first issue of Something is Killing the Children and dabbled with a few other things I still need to catch up. Though this makes me actually want to get more into it. But go ahead, Mark.
Something Killing the Children. In there we meet Erica Slaughter, who happens to be a monster hunter, monster killer for the Order of St. George. And even beginning of the first issue, you meet Aaron, who's the main character for House of Slaughter, only via phone. You eventually learn she's actually having a phone conversation with him. I think it's roughly issue 7 or 9 or something like that of Something Killing the Children, where he actually comes into play on scene and does some of his own monster fighting, which doesn't last long at all. That he's basically Erica's handler. And so here in House of Slaughter, we have Aaron's story, who he is, how he came to be, how he joined, what is it, the Order of St. George, and we just starting to get to learn a little bit more about the character Aaron.
Right. So what about you, Brady? Do you know much about Something Is Killing Children?
So I don't know much, and I was kind of nervous to start reading this book because of that. I don't know how much they connected to each other. All I've read, I bought the first trade for Something's Killing the Children. I loved it, and I didn't plan on getting the second or third one, but after reading this one, I'm really tempted to go grab them. I just think the story is so cool, and a lot of stuff in this issue. I didn't know if it connected. Like, I wasn't sure if it had anything to do with Something's Killing the Children, so I didn't know if I was missing any of the gaps. But I thought that Tynan did a good job of like tying everything together. So if you didn't read Something's Killing the Children, you could still kind of read this as a one-off.
See, I'm sorry, Mark.
The free comic book day edition of House of Slaughter is a really good segue. It actually cuts back and forth between that initial conversation of Erica from issue 1 then we flip over and see Aaron actually having that conversation at the House of Slaughter. So it's a really good segue from Killing the Children to this one. So I highly recommend checking out that free comic book day version.
Right.
Yeah, I think I have
bring
two.
back in John. I think he has technical issues to take care of.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so you're back. Technical issues aside.
Yeah.
So here's a man
How's
that you know
it going?
has definitely read Something Is Killing the Children. John is on a journey now with Arson doing so he might have a few things to say when it comes to the two books and how they've combined. So John, what did you think about House of Slaughter in connection to Something Is Killing the Children? Is it something that you need to read first or last?
Me personally, I loved it. You know, I'm a sucker for origin stories, and the fact that they're taking something Something's Killing the Children and giving you a backstory and origin for Aaron is just awesome. But see, I didn't have the pleasure of reading the first 9 issues of Something's Killing the Children. If we're all aware, Something Killing the Children, the first 9 issues are very hard to come by. They're very expensive. You're going to be putting out some money for it. But I had the pleasure of reading from 10 through 20, and we pick up the comic at issue 10, and then issue 11, Aaron's dead. He's gone. That's a wrap. So I didn't get the pleasure of getting to know the character in Something's Killing the Children. So the fact that they took House of Slaughter and went into an origin with Aaron just makes it all the better for me.
So I'm going to slide in now with that because I did catch Collectible.com. He's got his YouTube channel, and he discussed Something Is Killing the Children for the issues that he's read in a previous thing. So those that are watching, spoilers are here, so let's not worry about that. But I agree. Like, I've read
really good at
the first Something Is Killing the Children, and I read the Enter the House of Slaughter free comic book day that came out. I felt like if I didn't read both of those and I just went straight into House of Slaughter, I would still be okay.
Yeah.
Because they did a good job in this book.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, if you had no idea about Something Killing the Children, you just know that you're getting in here with a story with Aaron and some of the things that are going on in his life. So what's done for me, though, it made me excited to actually dig into Something Is Killing the Children. But I'm more stoked on House of Slaughter because this is the first one I've really read, and I think they did a good job with that. So I think you guys are right. I mean, I don't think you need to read Something That's Killing Children. And I like John, as you were saying, like, though they killed him, which bums me out. I'll be reading this. I'm like, oh, well, I guess he's dead somewhere. But how do they actually incorporate it into this story? Do they make it a 12-part series and then end up ending it at his death? But it's interesting. So, any other little snippets on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, up through issue, I think it's 9, where you actually physically see Aaron. Maybe it's 10, but he's sort of just a character that is just completely off page. Hey, calm down. Hold on.
That happened to us the last time it was on. We gotta make a brief appearance. Yeah.
He's got puppy issues. That's always cute. While he handles that, the next question that I wanted to bring up, though, kind of slight to the negative. Was there anything between the writing, anything between the artwork or the panels or the layout of this book that you guys thought were a little not so great? Was there anything about it that you could critique a little bit, or you would like to have seen changed?
Well, I don't have a problem with the artwork, but going into House of Slaughter, I kind of felt like the artwork was gonna feel different, or maybe even turn you away from the comic, because I believe in Something's Killing the Children. Del Edra, how you say his name?
Deladera.
Deladera is the one that did the artwork, but in House of Slaughter, it was Chris Sheehan that did the artwork. So I felt like them changing the artist might have made a few change, but it didn't. I think it went very, very well, and it fit with the storytelling. So I didn't have a problem with the art at all.
Yeah, I think Sheehan sort of, I don't want to say copied Deladera's style, but he tried to stay true to the ideas behind Deladera's style, especially with the 2-page horizontal storytelling, like where you've got the 2-page spread going across, which Deladera does pretty well. I'm kind of hit or miss on that, whether sometimes I think it works real well, sometimes I don't, but neither here nor there. One of the things I did like and when artists do this is, of course, is you've got the black backgrounds on what do you call it? The gutter on the current day story, and then as you flip, you've got the white border and stuff. Small touch that you probably don't really notice too much, but I think again it's something that helps add to the storytelling aspect that you don't even really notice, but it does contribute to the overall storytelling. So I think they did that well too. And as far as writing goes, I shit on Something Killing Children quite a bit, even though I love it. I don't think Tynion's that great of a writer. I think the content in each issue is really low compared to what it could be. But I think House of Slaughter offers more density. There's a denser story than in Tynion's issues. So I actually like the writing in this one better.
Is that because of Tate Brombaugh? Because he has another co-writer with him on House of Slaughter.
Yeah, right. I think House of Slaughter, I thought the writing there was a better story being told, where House of Slaughter, where in Something Killing the Children, there's not a whole lot that really progresses per issue. It takes a long time for things to happen.
I guess because of the fact that it is an origin story, it goes into more of the characteristics and character development of Aaron himself, which makes it more story driven. Yeah.
Right. How about yourself, Brady? Any thoughts?
I thought Mark made a great point. I never even noticed that. He mentioned like the black and the white, and I just picked up my book and started flipping through it. Holy crap, it actually does switch the color of the borders or the panels. But I haven't really even been reading comic books for that long. I probably started in maybe March or April, and
Nice.
I don't have that much experience knowing like what's a good writer, what's a bad writer. I just know from what I've read and what I'm reading right now, I like a lot of Tynion stuff. So he's probably one of the better writers that I've ever come across. Not Something's Killing Children. Nice House on the Lake is probably one of my favorite things to read right now. So when I saw he was doing this and Something's Killing the Children, that just made me want to read it more. So I always enjoy everything that he reads. That he writes, and I think that he has like a nice knack for like ending a story or ending an issue with like a holy crap moment, making you want to continue reading. Kind of like at the end of this one, like where they introduce I don't know if this was introduced in Something's Killing the Children, but I had no idea who Jace was. So ending it like that, I'm like, holy crap, what's going on?
Jace.
Yeah, he's a totally new character in this.
A whole new character in the story.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
but I
something
love that ending
to
though, man, with that final
writing.
panel panel where it says like, "This is the man I love, and this is the man I'm going to kill." I'm like, "Oh shit, where's this going?"
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that
Just
was
go
fun.
to
You about it. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
now I
there we go.
definitely got to see what's gonna happen next."
where Jace is kind of like there, and which is interesting to hear from you guys that have read Something That's Killing Children, because I, kind of figured that maybe it showed that in Something That's Killing Children. They played it out, but I guess not. So that's gonna be all new into this story. Which this issue, if you got this cover, I feel like this is foreshadowing that. Like if he's chilling on the outside, sitting on the steps, maybe he's like in a somber position. Something is in his hand. Maybe that's like Jace's like shirt or something. And this is just right when he finishes. So I don't know. Something to think about. Well, no, that's his mask in his hand. I'm just saying that now. But yeah, who knows? Maybe that was like the reason why he just kind of is chilling somber like. But when it comes to Tinian's writing, I'm a little bit on side with Mark. Like he's not a bad writer. I do feel like there's little things that he lacks from my perspective from other writers that I've read over the years that I really enjoy. He's good, and he's good for this modern era as well. Nice House on the Lake, been loving it. Great storyline. He definitely knows how to end books well. But I think where I do have it's not an issue. It's just my own preference. I feel like some of it he leaves out so much sometimes where it's a little bit too much because he just wants it clean and crisp, which is nice. But I'm so used to Neil Gaiman and the way he writes as well, or even Garth Ennis and like some of the descriptive elements that they put into their works that I fell in love with and really enjoyed too. But Tinian's a great writer overall. I think there was some things I don't want to say missing in this that could have been done with the writing. As far as the artwork, I made a great point. I know Deladera did work on this book. I didn't realize he wasn't the main artist until I was like, you just brought it up and I had to look it up. And he was like primarily illustrated by Chris, where Blair just kind of stepped back into more of the design and development. So it's interesting to see how, I flipped through the Something That's Killing books, obviously having a shop and having it in my hand through it. But yeah, the art is different, but I don't think it's noticeably different. And I enjoyed this layout. And Mark, you're right. I forget what you call it in storytelling, whether it's for movies or writing or what it is, but there's a term for like the flashback color sequence changes and how they went from the black ones to being like, oh, that was past, and then the white being present. But there's a name for that. I can't think of it right now, but I think that was a great addition to this, because I think sometimes you'll see in certain comic books of those that don't really know that layout, they'll leave stuff like that out, and it's hard to follow. It's hard to know, am I in the present moment, the past moment, what it might be. I think we can reflect back on the art was amazing in it. Mother Madness. We look back at that and how confusing some of those layouts turned out to be, because the storyline was a little ups and downs, and they didn't really have a lot of those key differences to dissect when you were actually paying attention to. But yeah, it was great. But next question
One of the things I thought is pretty cool. And
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go
one
ahead.
of the things I thought was pretty cool that I liked, to where I think the books exist really well side by side. Not only is the art similar enough, and the page layout, again, that double spread horizontal thing, which is again in both books. One of the things that I also like too in Something Killing Children in this latest arc, which is Erica's origin story, when she's a little kid and how she entered into the Order of St. George, which I think is the better arc than the first 15. I really like that her origin story. But there is a lot of friendly antagonistic back and forth between two characters called Jessica and Cecilia. And they're sort of instructor monster hunters, veteran monster hunters. There's a lot of really antagonistic back and forth between the two. And they captured that really well in House of Slaughter too. So I think it's really cool how they it's really seamless between the two. I guess they did a really good job of making it the same world, the same feel, the same vibe, rather than two separate type of books. They did a good job of bringing it together.
Yeah, I saw Cecilia and Jessica's relationship like a sisterly kind of bond, like how sisters kind of mess with each other a lot.
They bump heads. They bump heads a lot, but they have a history that goes far back than what we know in the comics, which they haven't delved into yet. So I'm pretty sure later on, or as you get deeper into the series, they're eventually gonna go into more origins of Cecilia and Jessica and their relationship, because they do come off as a sisterly bond. Because is it Something Killing the Children? I forgot what issue it is, but they have a conversation at a bar, and they're sitting and they're drinking, and there's a bond between them, the way they were conversating, that has absolutely nothing to do with the House of Slaughter. They really come off as deep down inside really good friends or sisterly like. But Cecilia seems to put up a front when she's in the House of Slaughter. And I really would love to know the history between them two later on, or going deeper into the series.
Yeah, I think those two are great. And then we see a little bit, I think, in this one too, of what's his name? Big Greg, who was in that latest arc on Something Killing the Children. He's a super, or Big Gary. Okay, he's super. They got some cool characters in this, man. I'm excited about, seeing continue.
Yeah.
So to stick with Jessica and Cecile, how do I explain it? They're new characters for me. I didn't know who they were because I don't know Something's Killing the Children. And yeah, I saw them. It was a good point. Sister kind of rivalry going on. Though I got the impression that they were really kind of like just pissed together. Though they still like had that. How do I explain it? I guess it's almost like, from my take and what I'm gathering from House of Slaughter, when I read, there's different houses of within the House of Slaughter. Like you got different masks, the whites, the blacks, I saw a couple other colors into the blues. It's like almost like that rivalry. It almost like, from the military standpoint, it's like, I respect all branches, but I still laugh at the Army just because I was in the Marine Corps, and we had that kind of element. I felt like that was some of what they were doing within this, which was kind of cool. And like, I am excited to know more about their background and what's going to happen with them, and them in a power position alongside with that. Though the guy, Mark, you just brought up, I don't remember his name, and because maybe he given in this anyway.
Big Gary.
Is that? Let me pull up the panel real quick, because
he's just. I think he's just in one or two panels, and he's like.
Okay, that's my question. There. This is the guy you're talking about? Is that him?
No, that's the Grand Dragon. Big Gary is in.
Yeah, that's the Grand Dragon.
Oh,
this is Big Gary. Right there. Ah, damn it! Stupid fucking technology. Anyway, that was Big Gary. He's on page. He's on page 8. He's on page 8. And he's just on that one panel, but he's a major part in the latest story arc from Something Killing the Children. He's the one that actually brings the kids in and actually, I don't know, Something Killing the Children, he's almost like some kind of like monster shaman.
Yeah. He runs this farm where they bring the recruits so they can take a test that they have to pass to become a member of the House of Slaughter. And I believe he is a blue mask. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Yeah. I believe he's a blue mask.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so panel, they're sitting on the desk.
Yeah, when they're sitting at the desk with the cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one that comes in the door when they're sitting in the control room looking at the TVs and the panels.
Okay, that makes sense then.
It's on
page 8.
So
some of these are still getting into, but yeah, I was bringing this up because I had no idea when they were talking about when Jason in the attic area, he was like, "There you are, old man," and what's Jason's connection to him? and I had no idea who this old man was.
Oh yeah,
So
that's the
he
dragon.
is like the dragon dude then.
Yeah, he's the
Well, for me, I guess.
He's the big cheese.
he's the gummy worm eater.
Yeah, he's always eating them gummy worms. Yeah, yeah.
That guy's got a sweet tooth for gummy worms, I tell you, boy.
One of the things I thought cool too is I wasn't sure, like initially when Jace and Aaron meet, Jace kind of comes off somewhat caustic, like he's kind of flippant in his own thing. But I really like too how in the end, well, I liked that fact that they showed Erica in this one as a little girl. And she's like, "Oh, that's Erica, my sister," but I look out for her, but don't tell her that. And I think Jace liked that. And then I liked in the end where he kind of stepped in, "Hey, that's my roommate. Don't touch him." It'll be cool to see Jace's background too, that there might be sort of a brotherly person that he is missing now. And I don't know, man. I think this one was really well done.
Brady, let me hear about some standpoints on the characters and their development within this.
What'd you say? Sorry, I missed that.
Like, how are your feelings about the character development in this and the people that they brought in? And you're familiar with most of them, or are there some you're kind of like?
The only person I was really familiar with was Erica from the first trade that I read, and she didn't play a role in this at all. So everyone was kind of new for me, and I kind of liked Aaron's style, I guess. I mean, just kind of like how I am as a person. Like, he's not going to go in there and like tear the doors down, but he's going to find some clever way to get it done. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like how he tries to hunt down Jace, and I don't know if that's going to be what's going to be happening in the next issue or so.
Right.
One thing that I was really curious about is it seems like Jace was put there on purpose. Like, it seemed like he was sent there for like a job, because he knew what he was searching for. Like, it can't be an accident that he got sent to this house. So I'm kind of curious. I don't know if he's another mask color. I don't know the significance of that at all, but if there's something going on and like what his name means, like what's the significance of his name, because he overheard them talking like the last like butcher or something like that. And
it was Jace the Butcher. Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
that.
So
I feel
with
like the
Erica,
Butcher
we have-
family or something like that has like some beef with the dragon. I don't know. I don't have enough experience
Well,
with
like
the
you
books
said,
in general.
maybe he was sent there for a job, which is why he was so adamant on going to see,
Yes.
because he was very adamant, and Aaron was like, "No, we're not supposed to do that. That's against the rules. You're not supposed to." But he was really adamant. And I don't want to say he forced his hand, but I mean, he kind of convinced him to go up those stairs and check on the dragon when he wasn't supposed to.
Well, I think too, I think that's a really good point. Like, he was really adamant about that. But in this scene here, I think so here's the House of Slaughter. Here, I think this was the butcher house down in New Orleans. And this was somebody who was important to Jace. So I think Jace is there because something, whatever the fuck happened here, like his home's gone.
Yeah, it makes me feel like you guys led on to believe that maybe he was sent there. I almost feel like he sent himself there. Like, I think something happened with him and maybe the old man, and who knows exactly what, but maybe, the old man sent some killers to kill a monster, which ended up his whole family dying because of it. So he wanted to get into the business of it so he can just get his revenge out. And maybe that's why Aaron has to kill him later on. But that is something that leads into something. I feel like they made it all way too fast for me. I think this is one book that it makes me, one, more interested to know where they're going with it, but two, they made things happen too fast on some level. So it makes me think there's going to be a ton more, because I think it was Mark that you brought up that section, which I enjoyed it, and it was like that whole thing where towards when they were up in the attic and the girls come in, they get that fight, and he's like, "That's my roommate, you don't mess with him," kind of thing, like da-da-da.
Yeah,
love
that was
it,
cool.
but I hated that it came so fast, because one, they just met, they're still getting acquainted. They actually kind of had some like negative attitude each other, especially Aaron. He's like, I don't want a roommate in the first place, especially a white man. Because this guy kid, and then suddenly he's like his best friend. Like,
Well, that's where I
I
think
was hoping,
he
like, if they were going to do that, I just feel like they could have waited like two more
that
books.
comment Aaron had made about, hey, that's my sister, don't mess with her because she's under my protection. I think that is what caused Jace to later, that's my roommate. I think there's more there.
I mean, that makes sense, and you can definitely build a bond with somebody that's pretty fast. I just feel like it was a little bit too fast. Like, I would have liked to have seen their relationship build a little bit more, and then have something like that step in. But that just tells me that as a writer, they're probably pressed because they're going to add so much stuff to this story that they just need to start getting some of that character development out of the way and make us kind of know whose side we need to follow and go with.
What I'm interested in is, this is called House of Slaughter. It's not called Aaron of House of Slaughter. So I'm curious. So say this is going to be, a 5-issue arc about Aaron, and then maybe 6 through 10 is going to be about Cecilia or Jessica or Big Gary. I think House of Slaughter is going to give us the opportunity to explore the different aspects of this house and not just Aaron's story, which I hope that's what it is.
See,
I mean,
feel the opposite way about that. That's one of the gripes I had with Nice House on the Lake. There were so many characters introduced in the first issue. All 12 of them go. Everyone gets a backstory. So by the time I got to the second issue, it's like, I don't know who's who here. I don't remember any of their names.
Hard to follow. I had that same problem in Nice House on the Lake.
Yeah, and then they just switched up, and it was being told from a new person's point of view, and then the next book from a new person's point of view. So it kind of like had me all jumbled, and I felt like there wasn't as much continuity in one person's story that they were telling. So I kind of hope it stays with Aaron, at least for the 5 issues, like you were saying, Mark. Like, that would be nice, like not just switching.
And that's kind of where I think where I shit on Tynion's writing a little bit is like the House on the Lake. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't know their names, and honestly, they're inconsequential. They're irrelevant, right? It's the story that's attractive.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not attracted to those characters whatsoever. There's no tie-in, and it's the idea of the story, and that's what I like about Something Killing Children. This is, the writing's not where I'd like it to be, but I really like the story.
Yeah. And that's one thing I like.
I feel you when it comes to a lot of that. And as far as the characters, like Nice House on the Lake, obviously there's a premise of what's happening in that. That's why he broke it the way that he did for that. With this, I almost don't even want it. Like, I know it's called House of Slaughter, but so we've got it away. We know Aaron dies in Something That's Killing Children for some time. Part of me hopes they actually stick with Aaron and they end House of Slaughter with his final. Because I remember, like, John, you were talking about in your YouTube session, talking about Something Killing, how bummed you were on how Aaron died.
Yeah.
You're like, they just wiped out this dude. Like, there was nothing there, nothing to it.
In one issue.
So,
I didn't get a chance to edit it. No. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know that part of the story. I don't know how that occurred. So I'm hoping maybe they drag this out, not drag it out, but they write it out as long as they can to give him more of that background up to that final battle. And then that's kind of where they leave. Like, that'd be something I'd like to see, because it'd be cool to get more characters, get them. But I mean, I think as a money business, they do that with, I don't know, just a new book completely, and branch out in that realm. I want to do that. I think that would be kind of a way, in my opinion, that they can take it to the step. I guess maybe, do the first 5, and the next 5 with like Jessica, maybe some new kid completely coming in.
Yeah, I agree, because when I was reading, when I jumped into House of Slaughter, I was happy that it went with Aaron, because it was like I got so brief with him in Something's Killing the Children. It was like, I see him, he's introduced, and he's gone. And when they jump back into an origin story for him for House of Slaughter, I kind of was like, oh, this is great. I really did want to know more about this character. I'm glad they're bringing him back. Because when they killed him off, I believe it was issue 11 of Something's Killing the Children, I was kind of like, that's it? That's all we get? I'm like, I didn't know anything about this character. He was so cool. He looked cool, and it was just like, oh, that's all we got. So when I opened up House of Slaughter and I saw, oh, this is an Aaron Slaughter origin story. This is gonna be good. I'm interested, and that's what caught me. And then his wanting to see how his relationship and develops with Jace and how it ends is what I'm mostly psyched about, what I'm mostly interested in. Everything else kind of it's a jumble, but I really want to see how his relationship with Jace unfolds, where it goes, and how it ends most of all.
Right. So from the comments section, we got Ken from Expedition Comics over there on Instagram. He asks, so if you could change one thing about this book, what would change and how would you improve it? So we just want to go in a circle and see if there's anything we can pinpoint.
What you do that?
I guess I'll start. I think kind of what you were saying before about Jace's character development at the end. Like all of a sudden, I felt like they were butting heads, kind of like what's her name, Jessica and Cecilia, were like they didn't like each other. One's a white mask, one's a black mask. One like what's his name? Aaron didn't want to room with him at all. He was kind of being an ass when they were doing the little tour. And then out of nowhere, he like steps to his aid and like defends him. And I was kind of taken back. Like, why did you do that? Like, do you want something from this? Are you trying to like talk him up, like get in his, I don't know, get on his good side that'll help you get to this dragon guy? So I kind of want more on their relationship, and I wish they took it a little slower getting into it. And I'm sure we'll get to the point where we're at now eventually, where like how they came to love each other and stuff like that. But right now, I'm just not seeing it.
What about you, Mike? Go ahead, John.
I completely agree with him. If I had to change anything about this issue, it would be his relationship with Jace. Like you have mentioned before, Frank, this issue went fast. It was like everything was happening so fast. And I think if they would have slowed it up and gave us more of what their relationship was, or how they bonded and why he's acting the way he's acting and what he's up to, would have been more intriguing to me. I probably would have changed that rather than make it happen so fast and then have him react the way he reacted in the attic when the three ladies showed up and they caught them and he defended him. Like, why are you defending him? Like, what are you getting at? What do you want? I think that's what I would have changed about it. Yeah, I completely agree.
What about you, Mark? What would you change if you could to improve it?
I don't know if I agree that it was too fast. I felt on this one, it was more about they were setting a bunch of hooks in you, and they were trying to get as many hooks as possible. My gripe with Something Killing Children is it's too slow. I think they could have taken that 15-issue story arc and told it in 5-7 issues, right? So I think it's just too drawn out. So, I thought this one, what you may feel fast. I think there's a bunch of hooks that like we're curious. How did it get you? There's again a bunch of hooks put in there. John, had you read the first? Did you go back and get through the trades? Read the first 10 issues or 9 issues of Killing the Children?
Yeah, so we went back and reread issues 10 through 20. We went back.
Did you get the first 9 in trade?
I did not get the first 9. We started Killing the Children at 10 and all the way through 20.
Gotcha.
You'll be getting the first 5 like next in January.
Yeah, like I think in January, which is why I had DM'd you. I was like, hey, that package is it the same issue, just variant covers? But when you told me it's actually issues 1 through 5, I was like, oh, that's great. I would love to read the first 5 issues rather than just getting the trade and reading it through.
Yeah, those David Mack covers are looking tight too.
Yeah. So those watching, if you're there, you can snag that up.
I think maybe if you do start with say issue 1 and move forwards, Aaron's this character in the background. Like he's off page and you hear comments coming in, you hear some phone calls every now and then, and you sort of get, I don't want to say you don't like get introduced to him. You just know he's there. Mm-hmm. So it was, I like that. And I think that helps. While I think you all said, good, you don't need that to enjoy this, I think it helps, right?
Yeah.
Because you see his relationship with Erica through those all that beginning issues and the stories there, and then it was cool to see in this issue, hey, that's Erica, she's my sister, I look out for her.
Right.
That kind of tied it all back together to what you were seeing in, say, those first 10, 11 issues of Something Killing the Children. You're like, oh, that really cements that relationship he has with Erica, which was cool. And I'm still going to stand by I think Jace really respected and appreciated that. And I think that's what brought that, hey, that's my roommate kind of thing. And maybe that happened kind of fast, but I think it was still a really great character building moment, really, for Jace as a character there.
So I think I'll agree with the relationship building with him and Jace was a little bit too fast for me. I do like Mark's take on it, though, and the reasoning why, especially him bringing in Eric. I think what I would change a little bit, though, if they kept the way that it was, it would have talked a little bit more about Erica then, and her and Aaron's connection a little bit more. So if you're somebody that hasn't read Something Is Killing the Children, and you're just getting into this, I don't think it did a good enough job to really establish how strong of a connection they truly do have. And at the same time, this is a little kind of maybe a little, but I was a little put off when the beginning of the book, he's out there doing this hunt, whatever, and they're on this little thing, and the masks approach him, and they catch him, and he would say, "Hey, why don't you just move a little to the left?" And then they get tied up, right? And then at the end, like, I'm going to show this real quick. So he caught him. He's got him. He could easily gut him. He in my opinion, and then the rope snaps, whatever. But then it goes from that to the next thing of them being kind of released or whatever. I don't know if you're able to see that. But then overall, it's saying that Aaron lost in that fight. I don't see him losing that fight. So I don't know. I think that was wrong. I think that was something, unless I'm missing something from something else. I think he actually won that. So for them, kind of like that was something that just kind of really stupid, but kind of irked me a little bit because I felt like he won that. But
I don't know if he won, man. He's the one that walked away with the black eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just because you get a black eye, don't mean you didn't
take advantage. I think the fact that he didn't take advantage when he should have, because I think Jessica mentions it, and she's like, the fact that you stood there and you was cocky, you should have just went in for the kill, And,
okay.
But to add to that, Frank, Aaron is a sympathetic protagonist, and he has been since Something's Killing the Children. Now, if you haven't read Something's Killing the Children, they give you a little bit about Aaron. And as far as I'm concerned, Aaron has always been the one in the House of Slaughter that's alone to himself and it's been picked on.
Yeah.
So when Erica comes to House of Slaughter, he kind of takes the cake to be her protector. But to be real honest with you, Erica's a whole lot more bolder than he is. he plays like he's the big man, but he really isn't. He's really a sympathetic protagonist within the story. And the fact that they're delving into more of his story is what I like about it, because he's not a killer. He never comes off as a killer. And you can see that in the first part of the issue of House of Slaughter, because he's not strong, he's not a fighter, but he's witty, he's smart. He'll lure you into a trap. He's not really a fighter, which is, I guess, why in issue 11, when he rushed into that fight, he was killed so quickly, but I mean, that's how I take him. And, I think in the long run, I think Jace the Butcher in New Orleans was probably the same as Aaron, which is why he probably stuck up for him later in the issue. They probably going to have that bond.
So Brandon from Apollo City Comics chimes in and he says, this was an odd jumping on point to this world. It had me interested, but knowing that I haven't read Something is Killing Children yet, something felt missing. So I just want to kind of jump on that as well, and I agree. Since I read a lot of Something is Killing Children, it was a very. I think that's what intrigues me more. That it does feel like something's missing. I know there's something missing. I haven't read anything of Something is Killing Children really, so I like that though. I like that it intrigues me enough to seek out more and learn more and find out what's really happening in this whole storyline. So I definitely am more intrigued in this entire world now, and it's something that, like, though I gotta admit, the whole, like, as great of an idea as like the different colored masks in the House of Slaughter is, to me it seems a little like, what is this another like take on like I don't know, Harry Potter? You know, we have to have the little, you know, clicks because
This
it
is the
sells.
R-rated
You
version
know?
of Hogwarts.
Yeah. So, which I know is great branding, it works, and now they can do a ton of marketing. I guarantee next year or two we're going to see a bunch of people wearing these masks around different colors. And what house are you part of? You know, like the whole fun aspect of it. So hopefully you go to Comic-Con conventions and see like battles going on between the blue and white masks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess something is missing, right? Which obviously, having read it, I didn't quite feel it, but I get it. Like if you just jumped in on the latest Avengers movie and see this fucking raccoon running around with a gun, you're like, who the hell is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, you missed something. You didn't watch that Guardians of the Galaxy thing. You can still
He's like,
enjoy
"For a
it.
minute there, I thought you was Build-A-Bear.
Look at the cute little ferret. But so I get it, you know, right? But definitely go back, and it should be easy to find that free comic book version. Enter the House of Slaughter, because that is a really good segue between Killing the Children and in this. And then I also want to say I really liked what you mentioned, John, about like he is a sympathetic character, man. You get the feeling that like the House of Slaughter does not really respect this guy
At all. Yes.
No.
and I think, and I don't really. He's a bit of a I don't want to say pansy, right? But he's still trying to figure himself out, right? He's still trying to find his backbone, what he's good at, and all that, which I don't really like in my heroes so much. I like my heroes just be heroic, but I'm interested in him because he's not like Erica.
Yeah. Mhm.
I really appreciate the fact that he's a totally different kind of character.
I think that's a great.
So go ahead, Brady.
I was gonna say, I think that's a great point about him not fitting in, and maybe that's why him and Jace connected at the end of that issue, because from Jace's experience at his house and him coming here and seeing these girls trying to beat him up right away, like maybe he sees that he doesn't really belong there, and he's kind of his own person. Like he's there, he wants to get the job done, but he just doesn't believe in killing. And I feel like that's like a common theme that you see with a lot of superheroes. In all the movies, in the books that I've read, at least, their big thing, like their morals, like they draw the line at the killing. And I maybe it's different for when he sees like a monster like when he's toe to toe with a monster, but for like the deer and for the people that are in the house with him, maybe that's where he draws the line.
And I don't want to do too much spoiler, but when you go back, like John was saying, like when in this Killing the Children, where he goes in and he's like, all right, I'm gonna fight. You could tell he's still very much the same character here of like, I'm not a good fighter, man.
Right.
But I know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and so even though you don't have respect for him maybe as a fighter, you respect the fact of his character, right? Of I am going to go forwards. I'm going to give my life for Jessica, or excuse me, for Erica.
And I feel like that was so different from everyone else that was in the book. Like
I feel
just
like
those three girls in the mask seemed like they were going to like kill right away. Like that was their first instinct, and he kind of did the opposite.
Yeah, I feel like he hesitates a lot when he's about to fight or like he's about to do something. He hesitates too much, and that's where he always ends up messing up.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
unsure of himself.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's very
It's
unsure.
interesting. There's kind of 2 points on that I kind of picked up. One being kind of an interesting, how can I say, kind of social commentary of sorts, because I find Aaron to be very emotional, I guess is the right word. You know, he always thinks a lot with
Yeah.
his feelings. He's got a lot of feeling behind it. And then you get these women that come in and they're so
Yeah.
I get
It's
it. I
funny
think
you
that's
say
what the
that
House of Slaughter
because-
wants. They want these stone cold killers. But it's interesting because in our society,
Yeah.
it's different. You know, it's typically the men that don't have emotion. It's the men that are like stone cold, and the women have that emotional side. So I kind of like that they've switched that in the story. I don't know if it was purposely done. I'm sure it was. Most things are some light to say it's okay to show. Though it's ironic in some way if that's the case because we find Aaron, I guess, gets killed and something's killed him. So is it because he's so emotional? And in this issue, like you, John, thank you. You cleared up for me because though I didn't like that they were showing that he lost to them in the woods, you're right. It's almost like that whole like Joker could have killed Batman a million times, tied up to some fun thing, but he had to tell him his whole plot first. If they would just shut up and then do it, he would have won. So I think it's the same kind of context in this. If he would have actually just been that Stone Cold Killer, he would have handled him and been over the next, mission or whatever it might be. So I'm intrigued by that though. I'm intrigued more so to learn about what establishes him with Jace, why they become so connected in the first place, and they fall in love, obviously, in some kind of context from what they're alluding to at the end of this book. And then is it because Jace is there for his own revenge-seeking purposes, from my viewpoint, and he ends up like maybe killing the Grand Dragon dude, and so he has to go and take him out in some weird. I don't know, I like it. I'm enjoying the story so far. I think it's got a good starting point for me, and I kind of hate the fact that now I'm gonna have to jump into the whole something that's killing the children storyline. I wasn't going to, but now I think I'm going to, and which because I just got the deluxe hardcover in that nobody's bought yet, so maybe I'll just buy it for myself and crack it open.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a beautiful hardcover, man.
it's a good thing.
It is, right?
It's a good thing that you brought that up. And there's a panel in the comic where after the training session, Aaron's in the House of Slaughter and he's laying down and Jessica comes in with a piece of cake to cheer him up.
Oh, yeah.
And she tells him, because he's like, oh, you came in here to brag about me losing, and she's like, do you want to know why you lost? And she says it, you're too emotional. She says it. She actually says it, you're too emotional. And that's exactly what go wrong. And then and to the other question, you don't have to read Something's Killing the Children to get into House of Slaughter, but reading it can be essential because Something's Killing the Children still gives you all those nice little tidbits about certain things in the story, like the House of Slaughter. They do go. I remember Big Gary goes on a little rant about the masks in the house and what they represent and the colors. And he tells you the difference between all of them, what their jobs are. When Erica passes her test and she gets her tattoo, and he's sitting there and he's giving her the tattoo and he's telling her all the different colors of the mask and what they represent and what they do. So getting those little things from Something's Killing the Children going into House of Slaughter gives you a little bit more knowledge about the characters and what's going on, and also behind the scenes of House of Slaughter. So yeah, it's not essential, but it's good to go back and just read it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at one of the panels in that sequence right now. She does. She says, along with you were too emotional. She was also like, you were anxious and you got too cocky when you should have just gone in for the kill.
Yeah.
So, but
I gotta actually have to get going, so it's been nice talking to you guys. See you hopefully next month.
absolutely, Brady.
All right,
It's a
Brady, take care,
pleasure.
man.
I'm actually gonna spin the wheel unless anybody's got any final comments, questions.
I guess I have a question, John. I'm guessing you're probably and I'm sorry,
Carson.
Carson. All right. Johnny Carson.
Arson.
So
Johnny Carson.
Arson. Mark?
I'm guessing this is probably gonna stay on your pull list, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna keep up with House of Slaughter for sure.
So, Frank, is this going to be on your pull list, and is Something Killing the Children going to be your pull list?
I think both are now going into my my pull list for sure. They're definitely going to give me my more up to, because I have like 3 different to be read piles. I got ones that I can wait on. I got ones that are like mid tier. I got ones that I have to read. This is definitely one mid tier to have to kind of thing. I think it's something I definitely want to keep up with and enjoy. But yeah. So Ken chimes in for a last comment. Is there a movie/show adaptation set come out? If that's something you all would like. So I did hear about Something Is Killing Children supposed to be
With Netflix.
I guess slotted for show. Is it? Okay.
Ooh.
They've signed some. They've just signed something. You know, I don't think they've started anything. Well, maybe they have, but no, it's probably a ways off. You know, as those things are.
Yeah. So I'm assuming if they're gonna do Something Is Killing Children, that's in the bag for show, I guess. It will all depend on how well that does. If this will get picked up as a sideshow, and that's going to be all, I think, based on the money people within Hollywood and what they think is going to actually do. I wouldn't mind it. Like I definitely enjoy seeing things go to the screen. Sometimes it ends up being bad, sometimes not.
Yeah.
So it'd be something kind of cool and interesting to check out. And Apollo City says it's definitely going on his pull list as well, and keep up with that. So
nice. It's whether I think that I'm looking forward to the show. I don't need it. I mean, I'm enjoying it as a comic book.
Yeah.
I don't need it as a TV show. I'm enjoying it as a comic book. That's what it is to me. I enjoyed American Gods as a book. I didn't need it as a TV show.
Did you watch the TV show though, Mark?
I've seen like the first 4 episodes of season 1, and it was all right.
Yeah, I believe
the book was good, man.
Season 1, and then that was it.
Okay.
See, I love the book.
Yeah.
The first season I thought was really good. The second season, tapered down.
Okay.
And I am actually a little bit bummed because it was a show that I was able to put on late at night before I went to bed, just to kind of like zone out and not, just to have. And then they canceled the season, so that's why I don't like things getting adapted to TV. Because if I do kind of enjoy it, and it's suddenly they cancel it, then
kind of like a Deadly Class, right? I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that.
Yeah, so I still stuck as
I don't need it as a show.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to, if you guys want to stick around for behind the scenes real quick, I'm going to spin this wheel to see who wins the book for next month. But again, we need to decide on what book that's going to be. So we'll get into that hopefully soon enough. But let me pull the wheel up, the round, to see if I can do this correctly or not. Did that work? Yeah. All right. So I got to actually swap over here real quick. I'm going to up a couple times. And
no whammies, no whammies.
No whammies, dude. Not very many people remember that show. So, all right, here we go.
Bringing it back.
And let's see who was the lucky individual this time around. Oh! Oh, Mark, you got it.
All right, couldn't happen to a better asshole. I mean, yeah.
Genius. Oh, that's good to know. Well, all right. So you saw it here. So Mark will figure that out. So I'm just going to send you out.
What did I win?
It's going to be My Little Pony versus Transformers, right?
That's
Deluxe
great.
edition. All right.
No, you're going to get a free copy of whatever book we decide for next month.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
So
Thank you.
maybe it's going to be a Hell Cop, and then you already got it, right? You don't need it.
Yeah, I got.
No, we'll get you a good
one.
Yeah, we'll get you a good one. Well, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you're catching this on the rewind, thank you for popping in. And do not miss next month's. Also, catch us all on Instagram. Most of our links will be in the bio. But other than that, we will catch you next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Frank, John, Carson, everybody else in chat. See you guys.
Later.